Oh yeah, it's Nick Shell, the internet receding hairline guy. I bought this shirt a month before I met my wife. I've known her almost a decade now. And it's funny that she hasn't made me get rid of this shirt. I always thought she hated this shirt. Maybe she doesn't. Because when you get married, one of the first things that happens is you have to get rid of what I call your bachelor pants, which are like, for me, was like these jeans that had cargo pockets on them. I guess they were pretty awful in hindsight. But John Mayer was sort of wearing one similar to that on the cover of Heavier Things, which I guess is probably my favorite album of John Mayer. Our first date actually was a John Mayer concert. But anyway, let's talk about hair loss, because that's what you want to know about. I'm traveling back in time to thinking back when I was your age, when I was in my early 20s. And what's funny is I never obsessed over my hair. Like, I know a lot of you guys are subscribing to my videos not because you've lost your hair, but because you're thinking, okay, I am gonna be losing my hair and I want to prepare for this. I'm watching Nick's videos. And it's funny because back then, like, I was aware of that. I thought, okay, yeah, I'll lose my hair. I don't know how quickly, but I know I will. I guess I was always so mindful of it that it's never something I dwelled on, you know, back then when I was in my early 20s. I knew that seeing my dad, I mean, I remember when by the time he was in his mid-30s, he actually, I think, had less hair than me. So I was already expecting that to happen. And so here's what I cared about more than that. Like, I just accepted that I'd lose my hair. So I knew that. And I knew I also wouldn't be fully bald. But what I was obsessed with was my height. I was obsessed with my height. Because I am, and since well, I'm 5'9", but what I'm trying to say is, I've been 5'9", I think, since my freshman year of high school. So since like 1995, I've been 5'9". So for how many years is that? 21 years I've been 5'9". And I remember in high school thinking, man, people are getting, my friends are like, that were always smaller than me, now they're like 6 foot tall and stuff. Maybe there's still hope for me that I'll grow. And then even after I graduated high school and I was in my first year of college, my second year of college, I'm like, there's still hope. I hear that you can still grow until you're like 20 sometimes. Never happened. I never exceeded 5'9". I'm exactly 69 inches tall. And I have been for, you know, all my adult life, even teenage years. All I know is being 5'9". And it's funny because it's not like it's short per se. Actually, I Googled it before I did this video. And the average height of an average American man, I guess specifically it said white male, so that's what we'll put on there. Of course, granted, I am part Mexican, but still. The average height showed to be 69.7 inches. So really, we're talking about 69.5 inches, plus just a grain of sand higher. So they round that up. So if you Google it, a lot of times it'll say 5'10". But really, it's kind of more like 5'9.5". So either way, I'm pretty much average when it all comes down to it. Most American men you know are probably 5'11". So as far as people you actually know, but when you round all the numbers together, it comes down to 5'9". So ultimately, I spent, you know, years of my life thinking, oh man, am I going to grow? Am I going to grow? And ultimately, I'm actually average. I mean, in my office, I'm not the shortest one, and I'm definitely not the tallest one. And that's how it is pretty much anywhere I go. I mean, my wife is 5'6", so I'm still taller than my wife, but even if I wasn't, it wouldn't have bothered me. Had she been the same height as me, I wouldn't have cared. If she was taller than me, I wouldn't have cared. It wouldn't have bothered me. And I think perhaps maybe just accepting that I wouldn't be a tall guy probably somehow helped me process that I also wouldn't be a guy who has a full head of hair. But I always had an easy time processing my future of not having hair for my whole life. Like, that was something I accepted and I grasped. But it took years. I'm trying to think of when I finally stopped caring. Okay, here's when I finally stopped caring about my height. Like, not wanting to be taller. Was when I was actually in college. It was my third year. And in the dorms, I had a tape measure that I duct taped to the top of the door frame. And I put celebrities' names of everyone's height that were the same height as, you know, 5'9", 5'10", 5'11", and so on. So you could see, you know, who was the same height as you, and everyone thought that was cool. And I think at that point I started accepting and grasping, okay, 5'9" cool. There's actually lots of male actors who are 5'9", and so like Robert Downey Jr. for example. There's you a superhero major actor. He's 5'9". But anyway, I guess as I'm making this video, I'm sort of processing this, that like for me to accept my height, it had to me just kind of putting it out there and thinking, what's my identity in my height? Who else identifies with me in this height at 5'9"? And like Bill Bixby. Bill Bixby was 5'9". You know who he is? The Incredible Hulk TV show, which was awesome. One of the best TV shows available on Netflix and ever made, which Stan Lee helped create that. Bill Bixby, the guy who played the Incredible Hulk before he turned into the Incredible Hulk, he was 5'9". Just an average man. And that's how I identify, as an average man. But as I started thinking, okay, who's with me? Who else can identify with this height? Because again, I was obsessing over it. There's no doubt I was obsessed over my height. I even ordered these things off the internet thing. They were like these Chinese pads you put in your shoes that put a certain pressure point. They're supposed to access growth potential to an inch and a half. Yes, it's silly, and yes, I was obsessed. But I'm just telling you a story about my life that happened back in the year, 2000, 2001 or whatever. All of that is true. But like I said, I guess what I realized is once I started identifying with other people of the same height as me, I realized, it's not really that big of a deal. So what, I won't be 6'3". So what, I won't be 6 foot tall. No one in my family really is. I mean, yes, half my family is Mexican and Italian, and they're just kind of not tall people to begin with. But even on my dad's side, like the tallest man is about 5'11". And what's funny is even on my wife's side of the family, she just comes from a family where no one's tall, no one's really short. This is our height. So here's my wrap up for this video. How does this tie in with hair loss? Even more so than I've already said it. What I just pointed out was once I began to identify with other people who were the same height as me, or at least even though they exist, it suddenly helped me to embrace it as my identity. Okay? So you see where I'm going now, right? Yes, we're part of this club. There's what, 540 of us, something like that, subscribers on this channel. And we are a support group for each other. Not like in a, oh, I feel insecure today about my hair. I just need a shoulder to cry on. It's not like that at all. It's just good to hear positive words coming from someone, even like me, who says, you know what? I'm with you. I'm with you. I accept you as you are. If you choose later on in your life that you want to get a hair transplant or whatever you want to do, you know what? Even if it's not my thing, I support you because I know what you're going through. And we all deal with it in different ways, So I know that people like to accuse me of being obsessed with my hair. I was obsessed with my height. I eventually got over it. And now I'm like, yeah, it's cool being 5'9". It doesn't affect, it's just like with hair loss. It doesn't affect my life at all. Like my life is no better or worse because I'm 5'9" as opposed to 6 foot tall. My life is no better or worse because I don't have a juvenile hairline at age 35. Nor would my life have been worse had I lost all my hair by 25. I would have shaved my head and I would have dealt with it. At least that's what I would have done now, Well, funny thing is I probably would have freaked out though. And what I mean, it's hard to say. If at age 20 I realized, man, I'm losing all my hair, I better do something quick, would I have worried with a hair transplant? I don't even think I would have then though. I think when it all said and done, because back then, like Vin Diesel was like a big deal back when I was in college, and that kind of ushered in like, okay, seriously, it's still cool just to have a shaved head. So I think it just was in the cards for me to always be a head shaver in the end, because that's when I started shaving my head, was in college, and everyone said I looked good with it. So I guess that was my fate. But again, that's my story. That's not your story. You got to do what's right for you. Whatever it means to give you inner peace and confidence in yourself, because confidence will always outweigh your hair. Remember, my wife didn't even know I had a receding hairline until, what, a couple weeks ago? Process that, stop the camera. My wife didn't even know I had a receding hairline until a few weeks ago when she made the video with me. She's like, what receding hairline? She thinks it's amazing that I have a following built on this because she doesn't even see a receding hairline. And even when I showed it to her, she's just squinting, like just confused by this whole process. Why? Because she fell in love with my confidence and my personality, just like you have. in a bro way, of course. But you've fallen in love with my personality and my stories. That's the same reason she fell in love with me, is the same reason you like me. My hair, or loss of it, or whatever, has no effect on my life. And I want to assure you that story can be true for you. Confidence and personality and fun stories always outweigh what's going on or what's not going on up here. I'm Nick Shell. I'm the internet receding hairline guy. You've just spent over 10 minutes of your time, of your life, but it was worth it. So thanks.